So yeah, sales is a roller coaster, and when you're on the top of that roller coaster, it is easy.
Yeah.
It's really easy. It's like you're not even trying, and they're coming your way. It's when you're at the bottom of that roller coaster. That's where your attitude still has to stay in play. It's the people that come back up that survive the long term. But I've always been a fan of just being honest with people, just being straightforward, tell them the truth. I train my staff a very simple motto. I don't care what you tell these people. You don't have to remember a word you say as long as you tell them the truth. It just makes everybody just live that way, and your life's going to be a lot easier. Your sales experience is going to go a lot further.
Why is that important to you to tell the truth?
Because if you don't, you just spend up more of your time trying to cover the lie.
All right, guys, welcome to the Leads to Deals podcast, where everything we talk about leads to deals, and everything we talk about is leads to deals. You're watching this because you're obsessed with leveling up your life, dominating sales, mastering persuasion, and skyrocketing your financial success. Today's episode is proof. I call it undeniable, in-your-face proof of something I've been saying for decades. The greatest country in the world, the United States of America, is filled with sales savages in industries you've never heard of, like grade A, tier 1 closers, sales mentors, unrecognized legends. And today you get to meet one. He's not one of my best friends, not just one of my best friends in the entire world. He's a master salesman, somebody I had looked up to and watched his journey over 26 years of high-ticket sales experience, call centers, high-ticket face-to-face sales, literally virtual podiums, everything you could do. This man has done it all in sales. And so today we're going to go deep into mindset, tactics, and stories from the field. So get ready to meet a real deal closing pirate, a legend, John Britt. Let's go, Dobie.
What up? What an intro. I don't know how to follow that, brother.
That's what we do. Man, first off, I appreciate you taking the time. I know this isn't your per se cup of tea, but I do know that I get a lot of people who I'm telling them, like, man, this world is just filled with absolute monsters in these little industries you just don't necessarily know of. And so you have your own journey. You've followed your own thing. Let me ask you, who do you see as like your Mount Rushmore sales? When you look at all the people you've worked with, or maybe people you've seen on stage, your mentors, who's your Mount Rushmore sales?
Bro, I can't come up with one. I don't have an original thought in my mind. Everything that I've learned from other people. So it's tough to narrow it down to one because I've met so many. Over 20 years of doing this, I've met over hundreds of thousands of people, and I've tried to pick up something from all of them and just make it my own. If I had to tip my hat to one, I would have to say it's my father, to be honest. My father had a way of pissing you off and making you love him within the same minute. He got the emotion going out of you. When we're in sales, if you don't get somebody emotional and they're just flatlined the whole time, the end result is always the same. You're not going to get them. So that's the best answer to that question I can give you, brother.
Yeah, your father is somebody who is a massive sales mentor for me in my life, a general mentor as well, too. And he's for sure on my Mount Rushmore. And, maybe it's just us younger guys looking up to those older guys because we came in and the eras were different, too. Like, they was a little bit more wild. We were wild, but just a little bit different. It's just the era. But he was also surrounded by monsters. And when I think back to those days and I think back to those times that we were in those rooms watching these guys close, it truly is an art. And it's something that I think people don't appreciate. To me, John, I think that it's the one skill. The reason why I was attracted to it at such a young age, because I realized I didn't have to be super athletic. I didn't have to be highly college educated. I could, like you said, there's no idea that's original, bro. Like literally, we get to watch these other people and create this art and we can replicate it. Like literally, it's all for sale. And so that's why I thought it was a great equalizer. I was like, well, shit, I can go be a plumber. I could go be a roofer. I could go do all these other things an uneducated high school kid could possibly do. Or I could master this art form called sales and have a good life. So is that kind of how you saw it too?
So when I was 15, yeah, every 15-year-old kid wants a car. So my dad's thing was, if you want a car, get a job. I'm a sophomore in high school. I'm 15 years old. So he knew somebody at the resort that they worked at. So I started telemarketing 6 nights a week, 4 nights every night, Monday through Saturday. My friends were, skateboarding, the snowboarding, or doing whatever. I'm going to school, going to work, going to school, going to work, got my car. And my senior year, my family moved me down to Florida, and I had no friends. Man, before I moved, I had a Porsche in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. I was the only kid in high school with a Porsche. My senior year would have been fire. But, so they moved me to Florida, and I did the same thing. Went in the paper, cold called, because that's really for a high school kid, to work at night. That's one of the only jobs you can do. So I learned early how important your voice inflection was. Over the phone, they don't get to see you like we're seeing each other right now. So I learned that at a very young age, and I moved out at 17, moved back to Virginia, and telemarketing again. My first year of college, full-time student, and then again 6 nights a week. So I got a phone call from a buddy of mine who got a job selling timeshare up at the resort my parents used to work at, and he said, "Dude." I'm 18 years old at the time. He goes, "Dude, I just saw a guy sell a timeshare. He made $900. And I'm looking at my paycheck. I'm working 6 nights a week. My paycheck was $250. And I'm going, what the fuck? So I said, "You think you can get me a job?" So he did. And I got a job up there, did a few days of training. My first tour, I didn't know shit about sales. I didn't know shit about timeshare. Nothing. I just had a great attitude, driving people around, go, "Hey, this is where the pool's at. Hey, that's the golf course. Hey, that's where I used to do this. Hey, this place is awesome." It just had a great attitude. And they bought my first sale right out of the gate. Then my second one, then my third one, then my fourth one, then my fifth one. There were 100 people on that sales line. And my first month at 18 years old, I was the number one salesman. And my dad and my mom did not want me in that industry. They wanted me to do something else. So they called the resort and tried to get me fired. And the project director, and my mom was the former project director. So my parents were very big up at this resort. They had a lot of pull and still worked for the same company. So they called the project director and said, "We don't want him working there." His name was Dan Bono. And he told him back, he said, "So you want me to fire my number one sales rep? Are you out of your mind?" So that was kind of the beginning of my journey. And I made over $10,000 that first month. I never went back to college. I got that bug. It's the greatest high in the world. And I've experienced every high that man has been inspired to have. And getting that client that it comes your way, folds your way, that right there to date is the best high in the world.
Did you ever have the conversation with your dad or the family? Is like, come on, why not? Why didn't you want me to go? And do you think they were surprised that you hit the gates number one?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And why
Absolutely.
do you think they just didn't want you around those types of people?
That's exactly what it was. Because back in those days, this was the year 2000. There was a lot of just a lot of tomfoolery going on. I mean,
Google tomfoolery.
People would just say whatever it is they want. Some of the sales reps would tell their clients, "We're going to build this giant water park on the backside of the mountain." There were no plans of a water park being built. Now, today, there is a giant water park at the resort. But at the time, it's like, if you pitch it, it will come. But, I've always been a fan of just being honest with the people, just being straightforward, telling the truth. I train my staff a very simple motto. I don't care what you tell these people. You don't have to remember a word you say as long as you tell them the truth. It just makes everybody just live that way. And your life's going to be a lot easier. Your sales experience is going to go a lot further.
Why is that important to you to tell the truth?
Because if you don't, you just spend up more of your time trying to cover the lie
Yeah.
versus justifying the truth.
Let me ask you this. Not only do I hyper agree because I want to be so focused on the next moves that I don't have to think about what I said 7 minutes in the past.
I don't need to remember.
Remind me, I have a really funny story though about telling a lie that I need to tell you about in regards to sales. But I see also too, it's like you lose conviction. Once you lose conviction in sales, people I think feel through it or see through it. And so for you, is that how you also feel like you have to believe in the product or you're just destined for failure? Or do you see people that can stomach through something they don't believe in?
I've seen people fake it, but they don't end up making it. You can fake it for the short term, but if you're going to go into a business long term, if you don't believe in it, don't do the business. Just don't do it. Find something that you're passionate in. I don't care if it's being a plumber or electrician or a mechanic. If you love cars, be a mechanic. Have fun doing it. It's not going to make you a millionaire, but I know a lot of unhappy millionaires too that had to lie their way to get to be a millionaire. And now they got the money in the world, but nobody wants to talk to them. They got no friends. They got no family that wants to be around them. So, money's not your friend. Okay. If you have to acquire it in a shady way.
The 10,000 first month, which I never heard that story. I love that. That's tremendous. Do you think that you did that through just raw energy? Was it the tactics that you learned on the phone?
It's just attitude. Yeah, when it comes down to sales, when I do trainings, people, I'd say, what's one word? What's the most important thing to you in sales? A lot of people will say enthusiasm. A lot of people will say, knowledge, product knowledge. You got to know the product. If you look at the alphabet, okay, I'm kind of a geek, and A equaling 1, Z equals 26. All right, 26 letters in the alphabet. Write down enthusiasm and do the math. Write down knowledge and do the math. Enthusiasm equals 92. Knowledge equals 95. Attitude, add it up. 100 on the dot every time. So if you don't have a good attitude, that's the foundation of everything. It's like any house. If it's got a bad foundation, it's going to sink. So as long as you have a great attitude, no matter what is coming at you, your leaky roof, your AC's going out, your dog needs braces, grandma's pregnant, whatever you got going on in the world, you just got to keep positive. And if you can do that, in my opinion, everything else is going to fall into place.
Literally chop that up. Let's put that on the tube. That's it right there. Attitude is everything. I think that if I was an outsider looking at this, I would say, there's these people. It'd be easy for you to say you got lucky. Your first month was this. They think it's all been just great. No adversity. Obviously, sales is that violent mistress of a roller coaster.
Well, here's the rest of that story. Guess how many sales I made my second month?
I guess 2.
None.
Is it because you got the $10,000 check or you started to learn too much?
Both.
Yes.
I went out. I thought I hit the lottery, Scotty. I bought all new furniture. Man, I took a 3-week vacation. That's what I did the next month. I wasn't there. I only worked 1 week. Guess what I did the third month? Number 1 again.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, sales is a roller coaster. And when you're on the top of that roller coaster, it is easy. It's really easy. It's like you're not even trying and they're coming your way. It's when you're at the bottom of that roller coaster. That's where your attitude still has to stay in play. It's the people that come back up that survive the long term. So many people have come. When you and I worked together, how many people came through our doors their first few weeks, just killed it. And then they got too smart. They thought they figured out the formula that was different than the one that we taught them. And then boom, fall on their ass all over.
I literally have seen that exact scenario repeat for the past 20 years. And the way I look at it is, what happens is they get lucky. They follow the process, but they cut a corner and they still get a deal. And then they say, oh, I actually don't have to do this thing. And maybe they do it again the next day. They cut a corner, they cut another corner, and they still get a deal because there's so much momentum from this other good stuff. And before you know it, like a ship that is lost in the middle of the ocean, they were heading east and now they're heading south. They're just going down and down. And it's that ego. And that's what happens. You have a good month, you get some money, you get some sales ego. Now you think you're King Kong and you're smarter than the process. But the process is what got you there. And so it happens over and over and over. I want to talk about attitude a little bit more, though. I have a closer right now I'm struggling with. And if he's watching this, I won't say you by name, but you'll know who it is. And every time I listen to his calls, he gets this very effeminate voice all of a sudden. He is suffering with an imposter syndrome out of all my 2 decades of doing this, where he's the hardest I've had to crack this, where he can talk to the customer as an equal. And it's not that he's afraid. He just says, oh, this person across the table has their life more together. They have more money. They have et cetera, et cetera. So how do you help somebody who maybe can't seem like they feel eye to eye to the next person? What kind of tips would you give him to adjust his attitude to know that, hey, man, we're all one? And like, if you're helping him, you need to dig in and treat him like an adult too.
I guess the best advice I could give that person would be to look to other closers and listen in, because you can train all you want. Like my favorite Mike Tyson quote: everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So you can train all you want, but the best training is live and listening to somebody else that's going through it live, because customers are going to throw you curveball that aren't going to be in your training manual. That's just the way of the world. When I first started, we had a 17-step system. Step number 1 was called pre-tour. Is your car clean? Do you got your materials? You brush your teeth? You scrub your ass? You make your bed this morning? Are you prepared? So then step number 2, 3, 4, you go to here, you say this, you go to there, you say that, you go to here, you say this, you go to there, you say that. So, but you can't can that live, because in between step 3 and 4, that customer might ask you some shit that you weren't planning on covering until step 14. So you have to trust the process. And if he's struggling, that, hey man, listen to the people that have come before you. Listen. When I was growing up, I always said, man, when I have a kid, I'm gonna talk to him like I wanted somebody to talk to me. And I really try and do that with my son. And still, my own flesh and blood, my son, he don't want to listen to me. He doesn't know, he doesn't realize at his age what I've actually accomplished. And the more you push, the more he pulls. So, when I'm on a table with a customer, especially face to face like this, I'm not up on the table like this. I'm back like this. Like, hey, I'm good. I'm here to help you, but you have to help yourself. This is what I can do to help you, but you have to make that step. You have to make that choice yourself. This isn't a decision, folks. I sell travel wholesale. You pay retail. It doesn't take a genius. People that buy cars to sell them, they go to the auction. They buy wholesale. They sell it to you retail. It's not a magic trick. Okay? So I'm good. Don't be so desperate. Okay? Don't have what we call commission breath. If they feel like you need the money, you're done. You're done. We're here to help you.
Yeah. I stood on stage this past week and I was talking about being pleasantly persistent. And there is that difference between pleasantly persistent and commission breath. And I think it's that confidence, it's that attitude that you're talking about right now. Because for me, I heard Zig Ziglar say this when I was 20 years old. He said, if I can make the customer feel how I feel about my product, they will join. And that's why I think that believability in your product and everything, it transmutes everything. I want to ask you though, I'm going to go through a little bit of your sales journey, but going back to that first month, one thing I know for sure is that absolutely on every single table, you had what's called a TO, or somebody you turned over that table to. Can you explain for people in our audience exactly what a TO is? What are the values of having a TO and kind of like your experiences?
All right. So a TO stands for a takeover. All right. It's a second face. When you've been with a customer for whatever, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, and you're not able to get them to come push them over the fence. Okay. You can't get them to sign on the dotted line. when you bring in that second face and you get that new set of eyes and ears on it, normally if you got a good TO and if they should be a good TO or they wouldn't be in that position in the first place, hypothetically, all right? They have not heard all the bullshit that you've been listening to for the last 30, 40 minutes. They haven't been puked on. Okay. So, they're coming in fresh. They're coming in with what? A good attitude. Okay. When somebody comes to me and asks me to go TO their table, they want to give me the Reader's Digest version. Well, they said this and they said that. I thought, nah, I don't give a shit what they've told you because everything that they've told you has gotten to the point where you can't sell them. So I don't want to hear any of that. I want to go in there fresh because I guarantee you, I'm going to see something that you didn't see. I'm going to hear something that you didn't hear, and I'm going to maneuver that, and I'm going to use that against these people, and I'm going to get them to sign on the dotted line because you couldn't. Okay. So don't be afraid of using a TO, even for my own business. I have other speakers. So I'll play the sales rep. I'll tell the people that I'm new. I've been doing this 20 fucking years. I'll tell them I'm new or act like I'm new. I'm just helping out this weekend. They'll ask me a question I know the answer to, and I'll still go, you know what? That's a great question. I don't want to answer that without knowing the answer to it. Give me just 1 second. And I'll pull a TO in right there. This shows to people that I don't know everything, but I'm not going to lie to them. I'm not just going to tell them what sounds good for the sake of sounding good. I'm going to get the correct answer for them, period. Even if it's not going to come from me, I want them to have the correct answer so they can make an informed choice.
Yeah. Shout out to my first female sales savage I ever really met, where her name was Ann Gorman.
Ann Gorman.
Yeah. She, a Berkeley group, Williamsburg Plantation. I knew she's my manager. The managers used to always go out first, obviously, to start the day, get the first deal. And she's my manager. And all of a sudden I look over, she's taking a tour and she's telling these people like, hey, I just started. She's calling in the minute. And this is the first time I saw that. I was like, oh, that's such a great dance because she deprecated herself. She made her not the expert, what made her less threatening. It allowed this other person to come in. And I think one of the huge values, there's two values of TO, but in the TO process, and I'm so glad I got to experience this face to face because now we do it over the phone. But when I'm looking across the table at my customer and all of a sudden the TO, the turnover's coming in, I physically move to the customer side of the table. And that's the part of the psychology that matters so much here because it's now, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I couldn't get you to sign. Let's see if we can't work on this together against the back office, against the back man, against the finance department, whoever it may be.
I'm on your team now.
Yeah, exactly. We're on their team and that's how it executes.
How many times you've been kicked under the table by a TO when you opened your mouth?
So many times.
It's time to shut the fuck up. Oh, on that note, guess who called me and asked me for a job about 3 years ago?
Oh.
Ann Gorman.
My dog. Oh, great. All right, let me tell you another benefit. I talk about this a lot from stage. I want to get your opinion on this about a TO. I think it allows the customer to finally break their lie. And I think that's really, really, really important, especially if there's still a blood pact there that wasn't really addressed or whatever it may be. Because when the customer sits across the table from me from 45 minutes and says, I can't afford this, I'm not making the decision today, and they're stuck in that lie, for them to change it at the end and all of a sudden be like, okay, yes, there's a neurological thing there that makes them a liar. They don't want to be a liar. I said I couldn't afford it. I said I didn't actually have my credit card. I said whatever. But when that TO comes in, that guard is down and now it's a whole new conversation that they're engaged in. And that lie doesn't necessarily exist. It's much more easier to penetrate. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
So when somebody tells you they can't make a decision today, rebuttal with, so you're saying you're not going to do this today? And they're going to tell you no. Say, well, look what you just did. Don't sell yourself short. You can make a decision today. You just did it. And fucking laugh at them because how stupid does that make them sound? You have to make decisions on a daily basis every day. You want Fruity Pebbles? You want Captain Crunch? It's not that big of a deal, folks. I just show if you give them enough reasons, it's not a decision that they're making. They're doing something beneficial for themselves. It's not like, oh my God, I have to make this big decision today. You lay out the benefits that you have. You tie those benefits to the client, and it doesn't come down to them making a decision. It just comes down to them realizing they're doing something that's going to benefit them in the future. You just have to give them enough reasons. My kids are going into college. Congratulations, man, that's awesome. What are they studying? Don't do anything that they throw at you. You have to turn it around on them as a reason why they should do this. We got kids in college. Oh my God, imagine if you would have done this 5 years ago. Your kids' college already be paid for, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
So you take every reason that they give you as a negative, you need to turn that into a why. That's why you should do this. So the next time you're in this position, you don't have to worry about this shit anymore, because it's going to happen again. It's not your kids are in college now. Oh, great. Well, hurricane took out your screen and your pool. Oh, great. You got in a car accident. Oh, great. Somebody died. Oh, great. There's always things that are going to be happening in your life. Why have this as one more burden? Why not just get this out of the way now? Is to be done with it.
Let me ask you, what's the be back bus?
Empty.
Tell people why there is no be back bus. When the first time you heard that? Walk them through that, because in the industries that I'm in now, they don't really grasp that concept, and they think that it's just going to be a train arriving just a little later.
It was a long learned lesson that I believed they would come back the first time I heard it. I believed they would come back the second, the third, the fourth time. I would tell my manager, "Oh no, Steve, I'm telling you, these people, they really like this." Okay, they said they're going to go home, they're going to talk to their daughter, they're going to talk to their grandkid, whoever. They're going to call us back next week. That's a deal, guaranteed. They sold me. The people sold me. I bought their popcorn.
Amen.
And
seller be sold.
It is. There's a sale made every presentation, right? You sell them or they sell you. But somebody's getting sold in this, and I'm going to be on the receiving end of it. So just get it out of your mind. It's the best advice I can give you. If you're basing your business on B-backs,
you'll be out of business.
I'm not the one for you.
Yeah.
If I'm not good enough to get your business while you're sitting in front of me, I don't ever plan on getting your business again. And I have no problem telling a client that after they know me, they know I'm honest, they know I'm blunt, I'm direct. I'm not going to tell them just what sounds good. I can look them direct in the face and say, look, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do I sell memberships. I'm going to do my membership under these terms. Okay. And before I tell you the terms, I don't want you telling me that sounds good. I'm going to come back and do that. I'm rolling the dice, folks. I'm either going to get your business right now, or I'm never going to get it in the future.
And people respect it, and they know it.
They know it's coming.
Yeah.
They know it's coming. So why hide around it? Or if you're using a TO, look, I've taken you as far as I can. Somebody's going to come over. Just make sure I did my job. If you got any marks for me, I really appreciate you guys' time. Hey, and you at that point, turn it over. You're done. You've done everything that you can. Now shut the fuck up and let somebody else get in there that hasn't been puked on.
It's all about that second voice, man, in those situations. I want to reiterate real quick. The be-back bus is a term that we were taught a long time ago. If you would go to your manager and be like, hey, man, they said that they loved me. They said that they loved this. They just need to go to their hotel down the street and grab some stuff and they'll be back. Or tomorrow, they're just going to go to Busch Gardens and they'll be back to sign a little bit later. They got to transfer some. They would say, well, do you think there's a bus full of these people that are going to be back? There's no be-back bus. And so we were trained, and I think probably the number one sales strategy that made me the most amount of money is that you will lose more deals by not being aggressive enough than you'll ever lose by being too aggressive. So exactly what you're saying, telling them up front, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to go for the gusto. We're going to go for the juggler. We're going to throw out all the red carpet, offer all the incentives to earn your business today, because we know it's so much more valuable to push too hard today than to push too little today.
Well, if you've got it in your mind that they're not going to buy, at that point, practice. Get uncomfortable. Say some things that you've thought about. Say some things that you've wanted to say, but you've been too nervous because you thought you were going to cost yourself a sale by saying these things. Hey, if they're not going to buy anyways, it's a it's practice time. Get uncomfortable. Get a little more aggressive. Get into their heart. Say some shit like, "Sir, you wouldn't do that. Your wife wants to do this. How long y'all been together? You ain't gonna do this for her, really? Why not? They ain't buying anyways." And I cannot tell you how many couples that I've talked to that have gotten in fights because I've made the wife or the husband want it so bad and the spouse wouldn't come my way. And the other spouse that I did have on side, they talked the husband into it. The wife talked the husband into it, or the husband talked the wife into it because they're going to listen to each other more than they're going to listen to me. But as long as I at least get one of them on my side, you got a better shot. And if you're talking to a couple, for those of y'all listening, get the woman on your side. The woman runs shit. Because if she wants it and she don't get it, he ain't getting it, if you know what I mean.
Talk to me about urgency. Why is how to create urgency? Well, let's start backwards. What is urgency in a sales pitch? And then how do you create it, maybe at a high level that can be applied across industries?
So for our program, we sell a membership for people to go on vacation. They get discounts on vacation, right? So I tell them up front, we have a standard plan that you can come sign up with us anytime you want. Think of it like a car that's sitting on a lot. The sticker price is going to be right in the window. You know exactly what it costs. We're online right now, test driving the car. You're going to be able to pick wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go. So you're going to know what it does, what it doesn't do, how much it costs, and it sits there and you can drive it off anytime you want to drive it off. Fair? And they go, oh, okay, cool. However, when do you think our company would like to earn your business? Most people will come back and say, now or today. Ding, ding, ding. You're right. Do you think we give you any incentives to earn your business today? And they'll, oh, yeah. And I say, we bribe you, folks. Call a spade a spade. We know you're somewhat susceptible to bribery. You're sitting here. So we're just going to try it again. And you don't have to laugh at that, but that's funny. I don't care who you are. And that they do exactly what you're doing. You're making your point. You're being blunt, but you're doing it with a smile. Not, listen, if you don't give me your business today, you can't ever come back and do this. You say that shit to me, I'm just going to click the button and you're done. That's all it takes, folks. So the benefits that we give them for doing it now, one of them is the ability to share and bring other people with them on vacation. If I can earn your business today, you can bring anybody with you on this trip, and we're going to treat them just like we treat you. But we only do that if you sign up when?
Today.
Thank you. And there's 4 or 5 different things that we throw in that make our product more usable to the client. If they sign up when? Make them say it. Make them say it today. Get that shit in their head. And if you do that enough at the end, I swear to you, you will not get people telling you they're going to come back. You're going to get people to tell you no. Of course, that's the business. But I don't have anybody telling me, I'll get back to you. Because I don't even have to say a word at the end of my presentation when they say that to me. All I got to do is look at them. That's all I got to do. And then they know. And then we get back to business. All right. Why? Give me the objection. I'll cover it. Give me another objection. I'll cover it. And I'm going to cover it till I got your credit card.
I think about the structure of what you just said, because it's all fire. It's all true. But from a structure standpoint, you start addressing the urgency at the beginning of the presentation.
Hell yes.
You talk about it. And it's not something you can just wait till the end and all of a sudden try to justify why the deal is better today. Exactly.
No, because when they're surprised, when something comes out of the woodwork they weren't expecting, that's what they have to think about. That's what they're telling you. Shit, if I would have known this an hour ago and you've explained it over the hour why it is this way, I don't have to think about that. You've already explained it to me. What's there to fucking think about?
Again, this is, what's so beautiful is every core tactic you're discussing in just like general conversation. But for me, being able to respond to an objection is way different than owning the objection.
Hell
And when
yeah.
you own the objection, like you're talking about, that today, I'm not going to do anything today, and you spend 45 minutes owning it, it can't pop up at the end when it's well executed.
They already know. So, you know, the 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 root of it again, attitude and honesty. Um,
Attitude and not.
stick with those two things, and you really can't go wrong. The name of my company, if you see on the John Britt, VP of Next Travel, when we were coming up with the name of the company, we had a little round table with the top dogs, and we're all going, well, let's call it this. Nah, next. Let's call it this. Next. Let's call it this. Not next. So I finally said, next has been the most used word that we've used. When we get done with a client, they're done. There is no be back bus. What do we always say? Next.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Call the damn company next.
The Red Sea parted when that decision was made. It's so prophetic. Do you think sometimes, so you're in an industry based around people who travel and respond to marketing. I have taken what I learned from the timeshare world and really applied it, I think, to all sales. It's a bit of brainwashing for myself, but I used to say, you know what, man, people who come to presentations like this, they're neurologically, something's broken. Like if you're going to get in your car and go 45 minutes away for this postcard or this other thing, then I realized over time, like everybody's got this neurological thing. So do you think you're just in a pool of people who always buy, or they're susceptible to this, or is it just part of the strategies?
We mail out postcards. I send out about 10,000 postcards a week, different cities here in Florida. And I get a response rate of about 1%. What does that tell you? That means 99% of the people are fixed. And that 1%, just like you said, they're broken. You know how many presentations I've sat through based on a postcard I got in the mail?
Zero, ever.
None.
Yeah, it's good.
Because I'm not broken. If I want a vacation, I buy it. If I need a car, I go get it. If I want a piece of furniture, I go buy it. I'm the easiest sale in the world because A, I already know what I want. B, I can afford it. So for me, yeah, people will come to my house. I bought 2 different alarm systems in the last 5 years that, that I don't even use. Am I mad at the salesman? No, I can go click the button and turn the thing on right now. He sold me a good product. I had a great salesman. He showed me the benefits, told me, hey, you want somebody breaking into your house at night? You got a wife, you got kids, you got nice shit in your house. Hey, something happens, you got a phone number to call, it does it automatically for you. Somebody rings your doorbell, goes right to your phone. He showed me why this is a benefit to me. Now, me, I live in a great neighborhood. Sometimes my doors go unlocked, but it's not the salesman's fault. I got a great product. So, I didn't intend on buying that product that day. Guy knocked on my door. He had a great attitude, didn't bullshit me, showed me a couple loopholes. Well, I'm supposed to charge you this. I'm going to do it for you like this. Well, I'm supposed to do this, but hey, man, you cool. I'm going to do it for you like this. And it was like we were friends. I bought him. I didn't buy the alarm system. I didn't even use the fucking alarm system. I bought the man.
Amen. Yes. I want to talk about prejudging for a second. You got some dope, like prejudging stories, either to the good or the bad, that you've experienced in all your years that you're like, man, this is the reason why you just can't.
100%. Now, this one's a little on the dirty side, so I hope your listeners can handle it. So I was doing a presentation in Punta Gorda, had about 25, 30 people in front of me. And this old man was sitting in the front of the room and in the back of the room, excuse me. And he was kind of rocking back and forth in his seat. And so as you're looking at, 30 people, I'm the only one in the front of the room. Everybody's sitting down. I'm standing up. So you can see everybody. And he's the only one. He's kind of rocking back and forth. The guy gets up and leaves the room pretty abruptly. He was shitting his pants. And he was wearing shorts. All right. So he so he walks out of the podium room, goes down the hall to hit the restroom. He's leaving a trail of shit in the hallway of the hotel that we're doing the podium in, like breadcrumbs, right? He, so I keep pitching. It's like I got a room full of people. So his wife is left in the room, and it was just the most awkward situation that you could possibly be in. So did I prejudge this man? Absolutely. He just left us. So he was so embarrassed. He went out to his car and was just waiting for his wife to get done and finish. His wife comes up to me, embarrassed, of course, and she goes, I am so sorry. He was telling me how much he really liked this. Before he has a medical IBS, whatever thing you call it. But he told me before he walked out that regardless, he wanted to do this. So can you sign me up?
Nice. Yes.
Yeah, of course, madam. Let me have your ID. But yeah, I was not planning on getting a sale with that
With
customer
that guy. Yeah.
whatsoever. And so with my business, we rent out big hotels, Hiltons and Marriotts, and so we can see the people what they drive in. We can see their car. We can see what they're wearing as they're walking up, and that's part of my meeting. And Scott, you and I have done thousands and thousands of meetings, but that's something that I still say in every single one. Do not prejudge. Some people dress shitty to go to a car lot on purpose. Some people dress shitty to go to an open house for real estate on purpose, just for that reason, because they know you're going to prejudge them and they want to see what type of person you are. Some people just do presentations for sport. Those are the broken ones. Like they really have nothing better to do. So for your reps on the phone, some of these people, they just want somebody to talk to, and you waste a lot of time thinking that you're building commonality and you're making a friend, and all that's great. But if you're not tying it back into what your goal is, which is to get them to buy whatever it is you're selling, if you're just sitting there talking about their kids and talking about a trip that they did when they went camping last year, you got to always bring it back to the point at hand and not waste time that you don't need to waste. Establish your commonality. Let the people know you care about them. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And once you've established that, which if you're a decent person and you have a good attitude and you're honest, it's not going to take long. A matter of minutes for most people if you're halfway decent. But once that's accomplished, everything that's talked about needs to be tied back in to what your goal was originally.
And like you said, I think it's a good point. I've actually never heard anybody say it like that, but sometimes you can prejudge to the positive side and then you get your teeth kicked in. So I learned a long, long time ago. I would tell you real quick how Billy Franklin taught me on prejudging, but I learned a long time ago, I just stick to the process. If I treat everybody the same, go in there and give them my all, I don't believe this guy is going to say yay or nay. And the reason why that happened is one day I was in the back KCP waiting for my next pitch. You know, back there, they would assign people on a piece of paper to you. And you couldn't prejudge them because it was handled at the front desk. You didn't know. You just got a piece of paper that had John Smith's name on it. And I saw a bunch of heavyweights being frustrated and talking about how they didn't want this tour, they didn't want this tour, they didn't want this tour. And Billy, and I was brand new, maybe, I don't know, 3 weeks. Billy was like, all right, give it to that kid. Now, he didn't pitch me like that. He was like, hey, everybody else said no. I believe in you. You can do it. I go out there and grab the guy. He's fucking wearing coveralls with no undershirt. So jean coveralls, no undershirt. I hope pants underneath it, but about as redneck and as crazy as could be. But I was like, oh my God, Billy, just talk to me. Billy Franklin, the president of sales, director of sales, whatever he was, he gave this to me. And dude, I swear to God, at the end of that consultation, when I forget the guy who drove the Corvette. Who was the TO who drove the Corvette? Tommy Jones came over there and assisted me on closing that deal. This redneck guy that everybody had said no to literally opens up the coverall and starts pulling out cash.
I remember this shit.
Table. Bro,
I remember this.
that changed. I was like, I will never prejudge a lead again. Thankfully, I didn't because I was so excited about this everything. So that's why it's like, man, it changed my life. I want to ask, as we're getting close on time, what do you wish you knew earlier in sales? Like if you were to go back 15, 20 years ago and say, man, I've learned this thing now for sales that I wish I would have known then.
So I'll just go back to that first month when I made 10 grand. And we can all look back on things that we wish we would have done or shouldn't have done this or wish I would have done that. What I wish I would have done that month is put money down on a house. I had good credit. I was 20 years old. I hadn't screwed it up yet. I had the money to put down on a house. That would have been the smartest move in my life because I would have gotten the house, lived in it for a bit, then bought another house, rented out the first one, and repeated that process 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. And if I would have done that, Scotty, right now, I'd be on a beach somewhere. I wouldn't have to work anymore. Real estate is consistently one of the only things in our lives that always will go up. Your stock market's going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And we of course there's we had the crash of 2008, but what was that if I was in a position where I had 3 or 4 homes? If I was in that position in 2008, I would have been loving it. I would have bought 3 or 4 more. That's a buying opportunity if you're positioned to do it. I waited and rented and rented and rented and finally bought in 2009. I bought my first home. And so I bought at the dip. But if I was prepared for that, again, that would have been a buying opportunity, not a negative to me.
Well, I think you speak to a larger problem, I'll say, which is, man, sometimes it's hard to separate cowboys because you're in these sales environments and you're surrounded by a lot of guys. What I didn't appreciate in the beginning is how many people who were older than me just bounce and bounce and bounce, and they're churning tracks, they're churning this. And I just thought they're like, oh, we're just all here and we're all going to be here forever. And then you replicate some of their habits. And so in sales, you're just going to have some people who are savages at their sales job, but are also savages in their personal lives to the negative. And it's not like you'll get a lot of life mentors and a really good sales track. A lot of time you'll only get good sales mentors, and you got to try to figure out how to navigate that. And, what do you do when you're 18 years old and you just made $10,000, which in 1999 is $20,000 in a month? What else do you do other than act like a 19-year-old with $20,000?
Exactly right. But I didn't have somebody telling me, kid, buy a house. Seriously, buy a house. And unfortunately, at that point in my life, even if I did, I probably wouldn't have listened. And that's the hardest thing for these young kids to understand is that we're trying to help them not have to go through all the ups and downs that we've been through, having to eat ramen noodles, 3 times a day. And then the next month you're eating filet mignon every night of the day, and how to stay consistent and not be on that roller coaster ride. Because when you're in the ramen noodle phase, you do have commission breath. It's subconscious. You're not trying to have it. And the more you try not to have it, the stinkier the breath is. But if it's level, you're good. Whether they buy, whether they don't, you're good. And you have that confidence. That is what is going to sustain you in the long term. And that's going to prevent you from being one of those people that has to bounce from job to job or city to state or whatever. That is not a way that you want to live, period. I have so many salespeople over the last years that I've hired that have worked for me, just like you said, a few weeks or a few months before COVID stopped or everything. Everybody's got to shut down because of that. Every person that worked on my team, and I had about a dozen of them, every person on my team had worked for me for a minimum of 5 years or more. Every single one of them, because we take care of our staff. If you take care of your staff's going to take care of your customers, and round we go.
I hated it as a kid, but I became an appreciative of it as an adult. I came up under commission only, and what have you done for me lately? And I hated it. And for the people who don't understand what have you done for me lately, You could get fired at a track that you've been with for 4 years because you had one bad week, one bad month. You might have 3 months ago, you might have been number one on the track, that you may have made the company more money. You got a whale deal, but it was so savage and I hated it. And I said, hey, and I also noticed this other thing is that sometimes they would allow addictions in people because they knew that they would almost encourage them to go splurge their money and go because they could keep them on a broke cycle. And so I observed these things and I wanted to try to build a team that's a little bit different, especially in what have you done for me lately. But the problem is a safety net in sales is almost the kiss of death. And it's the reason why I want these kids. I wish I could make all of my kids in the healthy environment they're in be commission only. They would make so much more money, John Britt, as commission only than they do having this fucking base salary. And so I struggled today with that a little bit. It's like, man, I want to turn you guys a little bit more savage because I understand, I remember, and I just have this little restriction called I have to give a salary.
So I toyed with the notion of doing salary plus commission for a bit. And the logic behind it was, look, I'm going to give you enough money. It wasn't much. It was like $500-600 a week. All right. So I'm going to give you enough money to make sure that, your bills are paid. But over that, you got to earn your commission. And if your commission's over $600, you don't get the salary plus the commission. You get the commission. So I'm not going to say it didn't work. It didn't work as well as I thought it would, but I definitely saw a pattern of people that were okay with just that $500 or $600 a week. That was enough for them to get by. They couldn't thrive. They couldn't have the nicer car, the fancy watch, or whatever other material shit that they wanted, but it was enough to pay the electric bill, the water bill, put some food on the table. And that's a shitty way to live. That's just a shitty way to live. We're not here to get by. We're here to thrive. You get one shot at life. And if your attitude and your execution of your presentation, if it's 100% relying on money you pull in, how much better is your attitude going to be? How much harder are you going to try on every single sit, knowing that if they don't sign up, you don't eat? I'm going to give it 150% every single time, regardless of if they got holes in their jeans or they got missing teeth or whatever. I'm still going to have to try, because if I'm getting 10 shots this week and you're one of them, you're 10% of my income. You're 10% of my income for the week. And if I only get one sale, you're 100% of my income. That's how you have to approach each sit. This might be the last sit you ever have. Give it your all.
That mentality over enough repetitions becomes the outlook. That's your DNA. Like what you just said, the way you just said that with conviction is your DNA. I have one last question for you though. It's a softball. What's your proudest moment in sales?
Damn. Had some doozies. You know what? I did, and I think you were there for it. I think it was at KCP when I was number one for the month, and I got a $12,000 bonus check. That wasn't the commission for the month. That was just the bonus check. And you and I were like 21, I think something like that. And my dumb ass went right to the bank and cashed that shit. $100 bills like that. And what did we do?
Wild out.
Blew it. But in that room, and I'd been at KCP for a little bit. I've been there a few months. And I'd been number one before, but the bonus wasn't that good. But the reason that one always sticks out to me is the bonus was based off of how much volume the whole company wrote for the month, right?
Mm.
And that month was the highest grossing month of KCP's history.
Wow.
And so to be the number one rep in the number one month, and I got it on the last day of the month. Me and Robin Dill, remember him?
I remember.
We're neck and neck. Okay. Neck and neck. It's the last tour of the month. He's got a shot. I see his tour. He's got a beautiful tour. I got a tour. I got a good tour. I know I got a shot. I got to get this tour. $25,900 deal. Billy Franklin comes up to me with just the biggest high five. You're the fucking man. I fucking love this shit. Yeah, I mean, and just like you said earlier, Billy to us was like the sales god. Like he was just amazing. And so to get that affirmation and then to be standing in front of all my peers, okay, and yeah, motherfucker, that was me. I'm a bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like that was just that was that was it.
Awesome, brother.
That was
All
it.
right, cool. We'll leave it there. John.Britt on Instagram, John Britt, obviously on Facebook. I know you don't post too much about your sales journey, so I really appreciate you taking the opportunity, man, to come here and just, dude, to share with me your insights. It's great catching up with you in general, but it's even more special knowing the impact that you being around you for sales, learning from you has had for me in my life, and to be able to come on here and talk about it for a little bit. I think we need to do more of these, man. I enjoyed this. I took notes that you reminded me of things that I know, but you forget sometimes, right? Like, they're buying the person, they're not buying the product. I know that, but I forgot to tell my agents that recently. I haven't been saying that as much as I should. So, this attitude being at 100, bro, I'm going to validate that with GPT. That's correct. That's going out there, man. And so I really appreciate the time and everything today, brother.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, Scotty. Love you,
Let's
man.
go, baby. All right, cool. Thank you, brother.
Take care.
Peace.